Whenever the government editorializes about religion by putting religious symbols or phrases on government property, it justifies in people's minds this climate of bigotry, hostility, intimidation, intolerance, and discrimination against non-Christians in general and against atheists in particular. That's why I campaign for government neutrality about matters of faith. In state after state in this country, atheists are specifically prohibited by law from holding any government job, testifying in court, serving as a juror, or even serving as a notary public. When we've gone to federal court to challenge these unconstitutional practices, the courts have repeatedly ruled against us, saying that these government policies constitute government neutrality towards atheists. I've gone from town meetings in Illinois to legislative offices in Washington, pleading with our congressmen and senators to sponsor legislation that would provide atheists with the equal protections of the law. The response from the legislators have been that they don't feel the public supports legislation that would protect atheists' constitutionally guaranteed civil rights, and that to sponsor such legislation would be political suicide. So I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. Since this is on radio, I ask that you respond by saying yes or no. The first question is whether you support Congress adopting civil rights legislation that would guarantee that atheists are treated the same as any other citizen. If you favor such legislation, please say yes. Yes. Opposed? No. Okay, thank you. The other question is whether you would vote to re-elect a legislator who supported civil rights legislation for atheists. If you would re-elect a legislator, even though he supported civil rights for atheists, please say yes. If you would not re-elect a legislator because he supported civil rights legislation for atheists, please say no. No. Okay. I hope tonight's debate has demonstrated that atheists are just like you, except for our opinion about whether the evidence compels a belief in God or Jesus. I also hope that our elected officials will support civil rights legislation that would provide the equal protections of the law for atheists.
I'd like to start by responding to Rob Sherman a little bit and saying that if we're talking about fair treatment of atheists, that I think we as a church would agree with some of the points that he's making. In fact, this church has as part of its credo that all people matter, regardless of gender, race, or belief system. I could even show you a few Bible verses along those lines, Rob, if you'd like to see some. However, I think you missed, Rob, the point of the debate, because this was not supposed to be a political discussion. The point of this debate is, where does the evidence point toward Christianity or atheism? And before we go on to the next subject, I'd just like to put it on the record that the group that you're a part of, Rob, the American Atheists, likes to portray itself as a benign organization that is trying to defend atheists who get all beat up for the, infringement of civil rights and so forth. But I'd just like to point out that the American Atheists are known for verbally mocking and ridiculing the Church of Jesus Christ. The American Atheist magazine is known for promoting products like this one out of their magazine, where you can buy bumper stickers that say things like, Jesus Christ, super fraud, save you, God can't even cure acne. And it displays a bumper sticker that says, Jesus is lard. You know, playing on Jesus is Lord, it says Jesus is lard. They even promote a Christmas card with a picture of Santa Claus being crucified on a cross. And the inscription says that Santa died for your presence. In fact, the founder, Madalyn Marie O'Hare, was quoted in the Saturday Evening Post saying, "I want to walk down any street in America and not see a cross or any other sign of religion." And just tonight, Frank Zindler said, "Let all these groups, religious groups, get up and obliterate each other. It'll make my job a lot easier." This does not sound to me so much like a goal of separation of church and state, as much as the elimination of the church altogether. Now, a few specific comments on the debate. Largely what I heard was a positive case for Christianity. I heard Dr. Craig present evidence that was philosophical, first of all. Under the philosophical heading, he presented evidence that the origin of the universe and the evidence there points toward Christianity, that the design in the universe points toward the intelligent designer that is discussed in the Bible, and that moral values have their foundation in the God of the Bible. Secondly, he gave historical evidence to show the reliability of the basic historical narrative in the Bible, as well as the evidence for the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And finally, he gave some experiential evidence pointing to the fact that God changes lives. And I just want to add to that he's changed mine, and you're in a church where thousands of lives have been changed. And in fact, just a few hours ago, we saw the miracle of 500 changed lives of people who were baptized right on this very stage. What I heard from Mr. Zindler was largely a denial of the positive case that Dr. Craig presented. And that is in spite of the fact that he signed up for a debate titled, and he knew the title, Atheism versus Christianity, Which Way Does the Evidence Point? Where does the evidence point? He signed up for a debate that said, I will give positive evidence for my case. Largely, I did not hear that. And so instead of building his own positive case, I felt that mostly what we heard was rock throwing at the case that Dr. Craig presented. So, for me at least, and this is personal opinion, it seemed easy to determine which way tonight the evidence pointed. I'd like to now end with a brief challenge to three groups of people. And it's based on a verse that I think we can all agree on, 1 Thessalonians 5:21, that says, "Test all things, hold fast to that which is good." If you are a skeptic, I hope tonight you've realized that there's solid philosophical, historical, and evidential evidence for the truthfulness of Christianity, and that it's a critical question worth looking into, and we as a church are here to help you do that. If you're a Christian, I hope you saw that though there are challenges to our faith, if you study, it stands. And if you are a seeker, I challenge you to get off the fence and to start taking steps towards seeking the truth of Christianity. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have an opportunity in a few minutes for you to ask questions. Can have a certain number of people have an opportunity to ask questions of Dr. Zindler or Mr. Zindler or Dr. Craig. And before we do that, though, we want to take a vote on which way the evidence did point. Now, if you didn't get a program that has a ballot in it, if you want to raise your hand, an usher will give you one. Don't take a second. Just because this is Cook County, just keep it on the up and up. Now, it's very important. Okay, it's okay to hiss me, right? Fine. Okay. It's very, very important. Please listen carefully to this. We are not asking you what you believe in this vote. What is the question? You see it on your ballot on the third panel of the inside of your program. This is the question. Based on the evidence you heard during tonight's debate, which side do you believe presented the most compelling case? That's the question. Okay, so let's start over here.
Dr. Craig, if you were Mr. Zindler, how would you reply to the following? Would you agree with a statement such as child pornography is immoral, even though morality cannot be proven scientifically in a laboratory experiment? And if so, what is the genetic source of morality if we humans have descended from apes?
one of the things that has disturbed me most about this debate this evening is the allegation that what I'm arguing